We are at the place where they found one of the most significant archaeological finds in the history of our time. We are at the Qumran Caves, which is northwest of the Dead Sea shores. This is the place where they found the most ancient scrolls that was in Hebrew of the Old Testament. So let's talk about the community of scribes that once lived here and how their manuscripts have affected Judaism and Christianity all the way up until today. So we are at Qumran, and you can see here the caves where actually was a system of 11 caves where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. The story goes that it was a Bedouin shepherd boy tending to his herd, walking around this area in the wilderness here in the desert near the Dead Sea. And passing time, he was just throwing rocks into caves and everything he could do. And then all of a sudden, he threw some rocks into one cave, and he heard a shattering noise of pottery. So obviously he went in to investigate, and lo and behold, he found the Dead Sea Scrolls. So when he went in, when he found these Dead Sea Scrolls, then we realized it was the most ancient text of Hebrew of the Old Testament that the world has ever seen. There was overall in the 11 caves over 850 manuscripts found. Here's something amazing to think about. Before the Dead Sea Scrolls, the oldest written text we had of the Old Testament was from the 11th century. So finding these scrolls took us back 1,000 years earlier into the first century than we had ever had before. So to say the least, this is the place that we found the most significant and spiritually important documents of the written word. And that's for sure. An interesting example of some things that came about finding these scrolls is Psalms 22:16. 22:16, as we know it in the King James Version, it reads like this: "The dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me, thy pierced my hands and my feet." Now we as Christians always took that as a messianic verse in the Old Testament. So before the discovery of these scrolls, the oldest Hebrew text used the word kari, which means ripped like a lion, and the Greek used the word pierced. So in the oldest Hebrew text, there were always a big argument between the Jews and the Christians, because we understood it to be a messianic verse in the Old Testament, and they always argued, no, it's written in the Hebrew text kari, and so it was they would say it's not written pierced the hands and the feet. But then when they found these scrolls, it was written karu, which is just the last letter just a little bit longer, and which means pierced. And so that took care of the arguments that we've always had between the oldest Jewish text and the Hebrew text and the Greek text. So it proves that it is a messianic verse in the Old Testament. So the community that lived here called themselves Yahad. It means together in Hebrew. They considered themselves the people or the son of light, and the outsiders of this place, they considered them the sons of dark. Apparently, to get accepted into this community, it was a rigorous 2-year process. Their purpose was to be a community of purity. So they joined here away from all their family and friends and tried to reach the highest levels of purity they could find. This is why, in proportion of the population, you can find here the highest number of mikvahs, or what's called ritual bath, to spiritually purify yourself here more than any other place around. Well, Mama, you know, we seem to be partners now in these videos.
It seems that way.
Makes me happy anyway. And I think, hey, Eva, and I think everyone else likes it too. But this really is a special place, huh? Imagine John the Baptist right here, you know?
Yeah.
Spent 2 years right here.
Yeah, and then how, you know, the religious Jews were trying to be sure they purify themselves, and they wrote the word.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
And then they hid it to keep it safe.
Yeah.
So
I even, yeah, absolutely. I've even heard stories that the community that lived here before, now this all happened, what was the date? 68 AD. They hid. I heard that they hid the Dead Sea Scrolls in these caves here in 68 AD. And as you know, we just did a video you can watch the Masada in 73 AD, which is only 5 years later. The Roman troops came here and overtook all the Jewish people. So they hid it just in time. But I heard stories that even way before the time of Christ, they even had written in the scrolls here, because they had 850, and they talked about Jesus would come and the things that would happen and everything. I've heard stories about that too, which is amazing.
It really is. It really is amazing.
So even though the leaders of the Jewish people did not accept Jesus as the Messiah, there were groups of Jewish communities that did.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, amen.
Amen.
In one of the scrolls that was found here, it talks about a newcomer named John, who came here to be accepted. He stayed here 2 years, went through the rigorous tests of getting accepted, and right before he was accepted, he decided to leave. And then later in the story found here, in the written scrolls here, they had gotten word in the news that John the Baptist was beheaded, and they wrote that they were sure it was the same John that had spent 2 years with him here. And after a lot of research and everything, it's pretty much proven that it was John the Baptist was a part of this community right here before he went on and with the rest of his work. This was a special video we really enjoyed making for you guys. So until next week, God bless.